This is the Smoke Pro DLX pellet grill from Camp Chef. Right away, the look of it stands out. Clean lines, solid construction, and in this bronze finish, it's got that professional backyard vibe without being flashy or too big for a pretty average patio. It's not one of those monster grills that takes up half your deck. From my experience, the Smoke Pro DLX is super approachable, even for someone who's just getting started with pellet smokers or grilling in general. What drew me to this grill is the blend of classic barbecue style with some smart tech features that actually make a difference. I know sometimes pellet grills sound intimidating with all the talk about digital controllers and augers. Basically, pellet grills like this burn compressed wood pellets, which you load into a hopper on the side. The grill's auger just feeds those pellets automatically based on the temperature you set. The newest controller, called the Gen 2 PID controller, is actually a lot easier to use than it sounds. You get a big, clear screen showing your cooking temp, your probe temps, and it gives you a really straightforward set it and forget it feel. On my first cook, like a lot of you, I was a little worried about messing it up. I'm used to charcoal, old school, a little unpredictable, honestly a bit of a hassle to keep steady. So I wanted to see if this would let me do a pork butt overnight without babysitting it for hours. Setting it up was basically just loading pellets, plugging it in, and pushing a button. The grill has an electronic auto start that ignites your pellets for you. That's it. No lighter fluid. No fire management. It just starts. From my experience, the temperature holds steady really well. I usually smoke pork shoulders, ribs, and sometimes even try baking bread. I keep it around 225 to 250 for slow cooks. And with the wide range this grill offers, from 160 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, there's lots of flexibility for searing steaks or low and slow barbecue. If you're not familiar with cooking low and slow, that means keeping the temperature low and letting your meat cook for hours, which breaks down fat and makes things super tender. The cooking area might look small at a glance, but I managed to get 2 racks of ribs and a pork butt in there with room left over. There's a main grate with 429 square inches and a second rack up top for another 141 square inches. So even if you're feeding 10 people, you're good. The hopper fits 18 pounds of pellets, which means I can do a brisket overnight without worrying about refilling. Key features that really add to the experience are the ash cleanout system and the meat probes. With older smokers I used, cleaning up the burnt ash was always a pain. Here, there's a simple lever that dumps ash into an easy-to-remove can. You don't have to vacuum or take the grill apart every time. As for the meat probes, they're basically thermometer wires that poke into your meat and let you know the internal temp on the controller screen. That way, you don't have to open the lid and lose heat every time you check if your food's done. The grill is built from alloy steel on the outside with stainless steel inside, so it feels sturdy. The whole thing weighs just under 140 pounds, but with those big wheels and a side handle, I can move it around my deck without struggling. It does require an outdoor plug, so make sure you've got a safe spot to run an extension cord if you're not grilling right next to an outlet. Something I was a bit concerned about at first was figuring out how to shut it down correctly. You don't just unplug this style of grill, you actually have to switch it to a shutdown mode. This lets the auger run out the last pellets, and the fan keeps blowing for about 20 minutes, which makes sure there's nothing burning inside after you turn it off. It's a safety thing, and also makes it last longer because you don't have smoldering wood stuck inside between cooks. One small gripe, just to keep it honest, is I've noticed the display can get a little glitchy if it's raining or crazy humid. I recommend covering the controller with a grill cover when you're done, or storing it under an awning. I also read online that a few people have had issues with customer support, but I haven't needed to call them yet. Just something to keep in mind. In my opinion, the Smoke Pro DLX is perfect for anyone who wants to step up their backyard barbecue game without feeling overwhelmed by complicated gear. I'd recommend this for people who like the idea of wood-smoked food, but don't want to mess with charcoal and matches. Even if you've never used a pellet grill before, this is about as user-friendly as it gets. The manual is simple enough, but after a couple of tries, you mostly just fill the pellets, push start, set your temp, and let it do its thing. Versatility is another big win for the DLX. I've smoked pork, roasted chickens, seared steaks, and even baked pizza on this thing. Because you can dial up the heat or drop it for a slow smoke, it really opens up what you can try. The side shelf gives you a spot to rest utensils or trays, but I usually take it off to save room. Cleanup is more straightforward than I expected. When you finish a cook, all the ash drops into the can and you just dump it out. Grease drippings collect in a bucket on the side, which I line with foil for quick changes. I find spending a few minutes keeping it clean makes every cook better and the grill will last longer. For anyone worried about the transition from traditional grilling, this brings a ton of convenience, but still gives you that wood smoke flavor people love. There's no guesswork about temp, and you can walk inside to prep sides or just hang out instead of hovering over your barbecue for hours. From my experience, this grill walks that line between being beginner-friendly and offering enough options for people who want to experiment. The construction is solid, it looks good on my porch, and it hasn't let me down on the food yet. In conclusion, the Camp Chef Smoke Pro DLX pellet grill is reliable, easy to use, and flexible enough to handle a bunch of cooking styles. The design is sturdy, the features make my life a lot easier, and the performance has been consistent for the cooks I've done so far. There are a couple of things to look out for, like the need for regular cleaning and maybe keeping the controller dry, but those are pretty minor. If you're thinking about making the switch to pellet grilling, or just want a smoker that actually makes barbecue fun and easy, I definitely suggest giving this one a try. So if this quick review helped you out, please hit subscribe and leave a comment below if you have questions or want to share your own pellet grilling tips or stories. Thank you for watching.